Today, I will share my story of growing up in a difficult family. At the end of the video, I'll share how I found my passion for supporting parents. This idea was sparked by an interview with Justin Baldoni. He was talking about being the director and lead actor in this recently released movie called It Ends With Us. This is a movie about domestic violence. Let me share the words he said that sparked me. He said, I think everyone on this planet carries with them a very heavy bag filled with trauma and pain that they've been lugging around their entire life. So many choices were made for them, and they had no say in it. Subconsciously, they repeat these choices, and they repeat, and they repeat. And that's what we call collective suffering. What Justin said about trauma resonated with me and with many parents that I know. I grew up in a violent alcoholic home. My father was bipolar and self medicated with alcohol. Because he had a different brain, the alcohol acted like speed. He was manic. He could go without sleep for 3 days and 3 nights. The alcohol knocked out his guilt, and he was very, very harmful, did a lot of damage. My mother was depressed and had a narcissistic personality disorder. My parents had 7 kids in 9 years. I was the eldest. I also had a half-sister who was 11 years older than I, and when I was with her, she was very kind. We all grievously suffered from abuse, neglect, and abandonment. Fast forward to my husband and I getting married. We both really wanted children. Now, I wasn't aware of the heavy bag of trauma and pain that I was carrying around, but I knew that I wanted to stop the cycle of abuse that had happened to me. So, when I was pregnant with my first child, I looked for all the books on parenting I could find. There were only 4 books. That's how things have changed, because now at any given time, I have 4 or even more books on my Kindle on parenting and families that I haven't even read yet. This is a great time to be a parent in terms of knowledge. Your parents couldn't have dreamt of having the information that is available to you today. I really enjoyed my kids until I started to feel overwhelmed. I started to think that I was a burden to my husband. I was in a lot of pain. One day, I couldn't stop crying, and I decided to call a therapist. That took a lot of guts because the code of secrecy and shame in my family of origin was huge. Of course, I was scared the day I had to go to the therapist's office. But gradually, once there, I started to become angry because it seemed that the only thing he was interested in was my childhood. And the more I talked about my childhood, the more I cried. I was a crying mess by the end of the appointment. And then he moved his chair closer to me and he said, Win, how you are feeling has nothing to do with the here and now and has everything to do with what happened to you as a child. Wow. That statement changed my life forever. If I had $1 million, I would have given it to him. I felt so much relief because all my life, up until that moment, I believed that the reason why my parents treated me so badly was because I was a bad person and I was a burden to them. I thought that they shamed me, they hurt me because I was a bad person. It was on that day, at that moment, that I knew that childhood is the shortest time in a person's life and it lasts forever. And it was at that time that I had a passion to learn everything I could about parenting, to be able to support parents. I had a passion to make this world a better world for kids. And that's what I've continued to do. Work with parents together. We can make this a better world for children, better than we found it. We can do this together. And this is important because your children and my children are our hope for tomorrow.